We can't just keep him alive. We got to keep him from climbing the walls.
Actually, I have news.
You should have taken the deal.
It's time to break down another Better Call Saul episode in order. This episode's director has won Oscars, and I'll point out 3 subtle shot decisions from his Oscar-winning brain. Plus, Mike's 7 men and 54 details you might not know in Season 4, Episode 6.
Piñata.
It's a flashback. By this point, Peter Gould had regrets about the bleach bypass effect they used for flashbacks, so they did a lighter version of the effect this time. Although it's still noticeable compared to behind-the-scenes photos.
Are you sure about these? The pool's up to 200.
I've made my choices.
Clara!
Hey, Jimmy.
What do you got for me? Howard's End all the way down, huh?
I just love Emma Thompson.
This places us shortly before the March 1993 Oscars, just over 10 years before the main timeline. Howard's End was nominated for a leading 9 Oscars and won 3, so Clara probably didn't win the office pool. When the writers got the idea of doing some kind of pool, they chose the Oscars because Jimmy's such a big movie guy, and none of the writers know anything about sports.
Hey.
These appear to be real bills with blurred serial numbers.
You know, you're making the rest of us look bad.
This guy walking past respawns in the next shot and walks elsewhere.
If you wouldn't stop at every cubicle to chat.
It's great for morale.
It is great for wasting time.
That too?
You really did it.
What?
Kim's hands jump off the cart. That package says to Fifi, but it's spelled differently than the Fifi we know. The FedEx logo is too new, and there's a QR code despite not being invented until the following year and not being used in contexts like this until way later.
Isaacson versus Vicarian Holdings.
Writer Jennifer Hutchison slipped in this Mass Effect reference as she's a gamer. This game features Kara Pivko, aka Paige.
Just want to hold him close and whisper, "It will be all right."
Cowboy.
We've been assembling binders for months.
I've been kind of slammed with the Oscar pool.
Isaacson, he dies of a heart attack, and his family find some old shares.
Is that you, Skinny Pete? And immediately after, she walks a different way.
Family tracks down the CFO. He tells them that corporation's been dissolved. Isaacson shares are worthless. Chuck does some digging, and it turns out they formed a new corporation that's virtually identical to the old corp.
This is the plot of Charles Schwab and Company versus WS Wealth Management LLC.
Yes, of course it is.
The writer's first version of this case was deemed too boring, and the second one too riveting, so this was the third attempt to get it just right.
So Chuck finds exemption 4.
Can you just big picture it for me?
I am. Chuck won a case that Howard thought was unwinnable using obscure case law.
That's good.
Yeah, very.
The heavy makeup to de-age them almost makes them look like different people.
I'm worried about the flashbacks because I'm much older than the character. The audience has been so wonderful to suspend disbelief.
Congratulations, Mr. McGill.
Jimmy, you're one of our law students?
Yes, I just wanted to ask. Vicarian Holdings, Inc. would have been liable under the continuing enterprise exception.
That's right. What was the case law on that?
He knows. He's testing her.
Garcia versus co-manufacturing.
Sounds like it was Isaacson v. Chuck handing him his butt on a platter.
Isaacson is our client.
Oof.
The other guy's butt's then.
Served on platters. That's right. Thanks, Jimmy.
Hail the conquering hero.
Howard continues to be weird with his compliments. Just like
Charlie Hustle.
could be interpreted 2 different ways. Hail the Conquering Hero is a movie in which someone is mistaken for a war hero and falsely celebrated.
I hate to interrupt.
Me too, but we've seen this unnamed character before, and he's even wearing the same tie he wore at Chuck's funeral.
There's a Mr. Bushmills waiting in my office.
Mr. Bushmills is Bushmills Irish whiskey, intentionally chosen as less fancy than the Macallan whiskey they'd later drink, as the firm is still on its way up.
That'll be you soon.
Yep.
There's your winner. You think Pacino's gonna hoo-ah his way to Oscar glory, huh? Hoo-ah!
He will. That year, he was also nominated for Best Supporting Actor in Glengarry Glen Ross, which was recently adapted to Broadway starring Bob Michael and Bill Burr. The director of this episode, Andrew Stanton, won his 2 Oscars for Finding Nemo and WALL-E. A year after Chuck presented Jimmy charming Rebecca, now Jimmy's affected by Kim's admiration for Chuck. Chuck tried to follow Jimmy's footsteps with a lawyer joke.
What do you call 25 attorneys buried up to their chins in cement? Not enough cement.
What?
And now Jimmy tries to follow Chuck's footsteps. This location does not have a library, so this is just some doors and bookshelves they set up at the end of a hallway. A goal of this flashback was to give more insight into Jimmy and Kim's relationship, as this whole season centers around it. And we see that Kim's the one who planted the seed for Jimmy becoming a lawyer.
We see the moment where Jimmy first seriously considers becoming a lawyer, and that's because Kim is a lawyer. He kind of takes on Kim's dream. And also, Chuck lives in a world that Jimmy barely understands, and now Kim is moving into that world. And I think there's a part of Jimmy that feels like maybe he's going to get left behind.
The Mesa Verde statue should be exempt from sign code restrictions because it is a work of art.
Precious.
They intentionally made the Mesa Verde folders slick and the other ones mundane,
which distinguishes it from commercial speech.
Kim's referencing something from a scene that was deleted in the last episode. I showed this full scene in the previous video. The ampersand could mean he's gonna push for them to become actual partners, something Kim never agreed to. Juicing means it's
Morning!
Oh, good morning. I didn't hear you come to bed.
Their dry erase board is basically the same as it was at the start of the season a little over 2 weeks ago. Somebody get Kim more Post-its.
I was up late justifying a giant horse statue.
How big we talking?
I'm definitely overcompensating for some of their shortcoming big. Your hour's pretty much set now?
It's dead, Kim. It's deader than disco.
Does that mean you were able to schedule an appointment with a therapist?
Well played.
I decided not to go.
Kudos for telling the truth.
Okay.
He knows she's not happy about this.
I thought you already decided to go.
It's just not for me.
Why not?
It's just not. I need to be moving forward. And now I got this job, and I'm kind of on a path. Just want to give this a try. Is that okay?
Sure.
I know you wanted me to go.
You have to do what's best for you.
And this frees up Kim to do what's best for her, even if it's going to squash Jimmy's dream. As writer Jennifer said, she can't keep bending her dreams to suit Jimmy when Jimmy is just going to do what's best for him. Wexler McGill wasn't working for her as she was working so hard she almost died in a car accident. Now she's failing to balance the unfulfilling work that pays the bills with the pro bono work. Jennifer also pointed out that in order to help your partner, you have to be in good shape yourself. She can't work herself to the bone because she has to be there for Jimmy.
I should go open up sushi tonight?
Yeah, that sounds great.
It was originally Thai in the script, but the writers decided they get Thai too often.
Thai or Mexican? I got us Thai iced teas. You want Thai for dinner? I got a hankering for that iced tea.
Thai place around the corner is pretty good.
If I want Thai, I go to a Thai place.
The director purposely had her sitting there like she was projecting that maybe her name would be up there one day.
Kim.
Hello, Rich.
So good to see you.
You too. Thanks for seeing me on such short notice.
Are you kidding? I've been wanting to thank you in person ever since you sent Billy Gatwood our way.
She strongly recommends Schweikart and Coakley.
Notice that you can't see outside. This is a brand new set. When we saw Schweikart and Coakley before, it was part of an abandoned office building. It certainly doesn't match, but maybe they redecorated. And Rich must have moved offices since season 1.
How's James holding up? I didn't get to speak with him at the funeral.
I assume he means he didn't get to have a meaningful conversation.
We're taking it one day at a time.
So, what can I do for you?
How's your banking division?
I wouldn't say we have a division.
Would you like one?
This is a former solar panel manufacturing facility. The lights buzzed so loudly that they had to replace them with very expensive quiet lights just to add back the artificial buzzing noise we hear now. They didn't have enough money to replace them all, so way in the back it's lit by movie lights. Production designer Judy confirmed they intentionally chose criminal red for these little homes.
This is a good start.
What do you have in mind?
Couple treadmills, barbells, weight bench, stock bar, beer on tap. I mean, they're Germans. Entertainment system, DVD player, projector and screen setup might be nice. A few lazy boys.
Put your feet up.
Couches, pool table, I don't know, foosball, a hoop. Germans play basketball, yeah?
I believe so.
We can't just keep them alive. We gotta keep them from climbing the walls.
Make a list.
Security. I'd like a full camera perimeter inside. Low profile, and then we'd be watching. We just don't need to stick it in their faces.
Later, Gus will decide that sticking it in people's faces is the way to go.
And we're gonna need a trailer to monitor the cameras. Probably help to have a couple German speakers as well.
I can provide you, man.
What is it? Infection. Bad one.
I must leave. Tell Tyrus what you need. It will be done.
You got a pen? I'll remember. Yeah?
He has no idea what he's in for.
If you have a paper and pencil, you should be writing this down.
Do you need me to write it down for you?
You need to write any of this down, because it's okay if you do.
Treadmills. You want to check wholesale providers. These guys are going to tear right through consumer grade.
Is Mike bringing in a bunch of super soldiers?
I'd love to see what something like a 24-footer would run me.
I'm definitely overcompensating for some of their shortcoming big.
Sorry, we just don't make them that big.
The voice on the phone is Carly Jenkins, post-production coordinator. She was originally just a temporary voice, but they decided to go with her.
Who makes those huge signs that the casinos have? You know what? Never mind. Thank you very much.
It's subtle, but the song playing is a Muzak version of The Winner Takes It All, custom-made for the show.
Jimmy McGill.
We'll see in a later episode that this is probably magnifying Jimmy's emotions with a relevant memory, much like Mike getting emotional at group therapy.
My name is Brett Dunst. I think you did my aunt's will?
And this is assistant editor Joey Reinish, who was also meant to be temporary but did well enough to be used for real. He's named after a friend of writer Jennifer's husband.
She died.
Sorry to hear that.
I'm the executor, and there's details that are real tricky. Thought maybe you could help me with those?
Who was your aunt?
Geraldine Strauss.
Oh, Mrs. Strauss?
If I were 40 years younger, I'd have you buy me a Piña Colada. I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. McGill. Gimme, Jimmy.
Fortunately, the actress Carol Herman is still with us and appears in a lot of things, such as this parody of homeowners associations.
Fuck the HOA. Fascist sons of bitches.
Ooh.
Jimmy's reaction isn't just about Mrs. Strauss. In a season of avoiding grief, Peter Gould said this is the closest we've seen to Jimmy having a breakdown about Chuck.
Hello?
Did Clarence get the Alpine Shepherd boy? That's gonna go to your nephew Clarence?
As long as he finishes college.
Yeah, he got it.
He finished college then?
To reflect Jimmy reeling, the director starts using some out-of-whack camera angles.
Is there a memorial?
Sorry, it was last week.
Aw.
Hamlin McGill has an excellent estate law department. Ask for Francis Sheff.
Okay.
McGill, wait, isn't that you?
It's just a coincidence.
Thank you, Mr. McGill.
You bet. God damn it.
My husband and I scrimped and saved for so many years.
It's no surprise that Kim's TV is a Sony, but it's too modern for 2003. It should look more like this.
Then one day they said all my money was gone. How could that be? Where did it all go?
If you or a loved one is a resident of a Sandpiper Crossing facility, call the law offices of Davis and Maine.
It's a shame Cliff Main never appreciated that commercial. Hopefully Cliff Factor will appreciate mine for this video's sponsor, Factor.
I like to eat while watching YouTube, but then one day all my food was gone. How could that be? Where did it all go?
If you or a loved one wants fresh, never frozen, chef-crafted, and dietitian-approved meals delivered straight to your doorstep and ready to eat in just 2 minutes, then Factor is here for you. I'm a longtime customer. As for me, nothing has surpassed Factor's convenience and great food. What should I eat now? Do I feel like Kevin or Huel? We're about to see Huel, so I think Louisiana shrimp sounds great. Most of the meals deliver at least 30 grams of complete protein to support muscle repair and recovery. And Factor doubled the size of its menu with double the seafood and protein options. It's also helping me with a weight loss goal for the new year since I can select low-calorie, high-protein meals that make portion control easy. And they really are delicious. Head to Factor75.com or click the link below and use code BetterWatchTV FB50 to get 50% off your first Factor box, plus free breakfast for 1 year. That's code BetterWatchTV FB50 at Factor75.com to get 50% off plus free breakfast for 1 year. Offer only valid for new Factor customers with code and qualifying auto-renewing subscription purchase.
Hey there.
Guess where I am?
Somewhere good?
Somewhere very good. You could be here too.
Fork is the same place where Kim made the power move on Howard and where these two scammed Ken and Dale.
Hey, Giselle.
It's also where Rich originally offered Kim a job.
Schweikart and Coakley would be more than happy to put your talents to good use.
And of course, Kim ordered Moscow Mules.
Best Moscow Mule in the city.
I was thinking we could just be Kim and Jimmy today.
Okay. Works good.
Yeah, I have news. It could change things for Wexler McGill. I met with Rich Schweikart today. We were talking, and he offered me a job.
Kim's still being a bit dishonest, but you can understand why.
Again? You're not seriously considering it.
I'd be coming in as a partner.
That's even better than...
Partner track.
Partner track?
Partner track?
Partner track.
I thought things were going okay with Mesa Verde.
They were. My workload has gotten a lot more complicated. I've been taking on pro bono work. Overflow from the public defender's office.
Why?
I like it. I'm good at it. And
I was alive.
I'm helping people.
Makes a lot of sense. I have been thinking about criminal law myself lately.
Really?
Kim has seen evidence to the contrary, but he's scrambling to keep the idea of Wexler McGill alive.
It has a nice ring to it now. Wexler McGill, criminal law.
That all sounds great.
It does not sound great.
The thing is, if I go to Schweikart and Coakley, I have all those associates to help cover Mesa Verde. It'll keep paying the bills and free me up to do the work I really care about.
So you kind of get to have your cake and eat it too.
Jimmy realizes there's nothing he can do but be supportive, just like Kim was when he made up his mind about therapy.
Yeah, of course, Jimmy.
I'll be right back.
No, Jimmy.
What? I gotta hit the head. Kim is drawn to that white shoe law firm, and it's where she fits in, unlike Jimmy.
Originally, they were going to show the chopping that we hear, but the creators felt it looked too ominous, like they were suggesting Jimmy might attack him with a knife. They then were going to switch to close-ups of dough, but instead decided to go with keeping the shot on Jimmy.
I say do it.
You mean that?
Yeah, you gotta do what's best for you.
You have to do what's best for you.
One more subtle camera decision from the Oscar-winning director. He purposely flipped the direction upon Jimmy's return, reflecting his flipped attitude.
I can't ask you to wait around for me. And who knows? 10 months, a lot can happen.
Who knows?
Throughout this 4.5-minute scene, Kim's watch doesn't change.
To Schweikert and Coakley and Wexler.
Did he really need to park that far away? And he must have been there a long time with all that stuff on his hood. No playing games. He jumps right to 7.
Hi.
I only have a few minutes. I have to pick Kaylee up.
I stand by what I said. This guy was never married. But there's a time and there's a place. And that wasn't it.
He left me quite the mess.
Yeah, I can see that.
Mike crossed a line, but the group should have been more understanding about his emotional reaction. And if they're making things difficult for Stacey, that's even worse.
Anita's not happy. You might want to call her.
Probably better if I don't.
Aw.
You know that I would never forget Maddie.
I know. No one expects you to wear a hair shirt for the rest of your life. I was thinking maybe I could pick Kaylee up from school tomorrow.
That'd be a big help. Hop, hop, hop.
See you then.
Seeing all these recently vacated cubicles is a stark contrast from the happier times shown at the start of the episode. Although these two pieces of paper haven't moved in 10 years.
Hey, Jimmy.
Patrick was really sick here, which helped his performance.
I got a pressing need, only $5,000 will cure it. A lot of empty cubicles out there. What's going on?
We've had some setbacks.
So what's the plan?
The consultants call it right sizing.
What's the plan to get HHM back on its feet? I just referred a client to you guys. You're welcome, by the way. And you're telling me this place is falling apart? Get your shit together, Howard.
Excuse me?
You suffer one little setback and you're gonna let your entire legacy go?
One little setback.
Fine. Your pain is very special. Woe is you. Just stop wallowing. This place is all you've got. That and your hair, which, let's face it, clock's ticking there too. You want to save your business? You're gonna have to fight. You're a shitty lawyer, Howard, but you're a great salesman.
Originally, Jimmy was going to quote Chuck when describing Howard's abilities, making this so much worse.
So get out there and sell.
Fuck you, Jimmy.
There you go. Use that.
Normally, F-bombs were censored on the original AMC broadcast, but this was the first one that wasn't. Howard has done so much for Jimmy that it's easy to understand his anger. Patrick Fabian also views it as a nice bookend to when Kim unloaded on him. Jimmy does instantly put most of that $5,000 to use. The wholesale price of these $45 phones is $20. How much do you think he charges on the street? $100? I'm not sure why there would be no shipping or tax, and the sales rep being Rep 1 is a bit of another Jack Tester Joe Provider moment. 5x4x10, that is indeed 200 phones. They didn't get all the shots the director wanted because of a hailstorm, and amazingly, this shot was filmed on a stage a week later. The palette is closer to the concrete line than before. We see him carry in almost all of the stacks, 16 out of the 20, and the time on the wall clock realistically advances as he goes.
Piñatas. Are you kidding? We have full run of the place. There's no prying eyes. She's fine. Yeah, I change half the water in the tank every week.
Aha, he's talking to the vet.
What are you doing?
Oh, step right on in any time, you know?
Lost your job again?
Did you need something?
I don't want people coming in and out to buy your stupid phones.
I'm not going to sell them out of the office, so don't worry about it.
You can't keep them here.
I pay rent for this place, so I can do whatever I want with it.
They're a fire hazard.
Well, they're not going to be here very long. That's on me. Prepaid. 350 minutes.
Get-rich-quick schemes never work.
Just watch me.
No, you quiet.
Some people associate the blue Santa Muerte with the power of healing, and it's a callback to our introduction to the cousins. This dark scene is shot on the Vericam with that low light mode that is usually used on outdoor shots.
The doctor tells me your fever has gotten worse.
Temporary.
They say this infection may kill you.
What?
Even if it doesn't, my doctor tells me that you may never wake. And yet, I wait. I grew up quite poor in the place my brothers built from things they found.
Ooh, Gus has brothers.
We were always hungry. But there was a lucuma tree.
Lucuma is native to Peru and parts of Chile.
Barely alive. My family had given up on it years before.
No, you quiet.
When I was 7, I became fixated on it. I watered it, tended to it. The buds grew into green fruit. I was so proud. Can you just big picture it for me? I'd never tasted something so sweet. It was like caramel.
I've never had it, but apparently it does taste kind of like maple syrup, caramel, and sweet potato, so it's popular in Peruvian desserts.
At first, we ate the fruit ourselves, and then I began taking it to the village to sell. One day, Much of the fruit was gone from my tree. Pieces were scattered on the ground, half eaten. I thought it was probably a Coati.
But then I remembered that Coati are in every South American country except Chile.
I built a snare. The Coati thrashed so hard, it broke out of the snare.
Oh, well I guess we don't really know where Gus lived at the age of 7.
It ran under the house, so I waited. For hours.
Shut up! Shut up!
I caught it. The merciful thing would have been to kill it. I kept it.
So you were always like this.
It lived for quite some time.
Breaking Bad implied that Max's death made Gus vengeful and sadistic, but he already had that in him.
I believe you will wake, Hector.
There's the right hand that will ultimately win this battle. They shot a version with Hector's index finger twitching and debated which to use, but concluded it would have been too much.
Wow. Ist das eine Bar? Hallo.
Wir sind zum Arbeiten hier. Warum brauchen wir eine Bar?
Weil wir zum Arbeiten hier sind. Bitte. Das stimmt.
All right, gentlemen. We have a few things to go over here. That means you too.
Kai.
Uh-oh, we've got a troublemaker.
Over here, Kai.
Es reicht. Sie zahlen euch gutes Geld, dafür hört ihr gefälligst zu.
I leave it to you to figure out the roommate situation. I assume you're all friends, and I don't really want to hear about it if you aren't. The refrigerators, the cabinets are stocked with the essentials. Anything you need, call.
So when do the girls get here?
Anything within reason. Work starts tomorrow night.
Michael, they are all good boys. Once the work begins, they focus. I see to it.
Here's everything we know about them so far. We know all their names because they're shown in the security trailer in a moment.
What they've done here is very impressive.
If you need anything to make this go better, you let me know.
I will.
Looks like security consultant Mike Ermintrout has done a great job.
Let's go! Open up!
Now we're gonna need a trailer to monitor the cameras.
The footage on these screens was from real security cameras they installed, although it was all added to these monitors digitally in post. For ambient light, they did have temporary video playing on the screens while they filmed this. Some of the footage they played was from Breaking Bad.
You keep an eye on this one.
Hey. I come in peace, just here to make a deal.
Jimmy's really leaning into this criminal persona. Besides the all-red tracksuit, the brand is Sergio Cecchini, what Don Eladio wore when we first met him.
If you let me sell my phones without hassle, I cut you in. $100 every night that I'm out. And that's money for literally doing nothing.
This young man's prepared to offer you a sweetheart of a deal for doing precisely nothing.
Why wouldn't we just take all of it?
Consistent, reliable profits.
Give me all you got, now.
If you could just expand your thinking a little bit.
You talk too much.
No, you quiet.
After this first take, Bob strained his hamstring so he couldn't run the rest of the night. This is someone else running, and once he goes off camera, we get a Texas swap as he stays off camera while we pan to Bob, who is already standing here.
You should have taken the deal.
You're like the stupidest person I've ever met.
When filming, the actors were only allowed to be upside down for 1.5 minutes at a time, although that includes the time to bring them up and down, so really it was about 50 seconds at a time. At times, they did use dummies, but it took so long that they couldn't get all the shots while shooting with director Andrew, so Tom Schnauz later directed the rest. A lot of people attribute this bat dragging to Andrew, but this was Tom's idea, and it's kind of like this scene in 1 minute written by Tom, and this scene in Sunset.
Didn't know I had friends, did you?
It was the director's idea to shoot upside down, although in post, editor Chris McCaleb decided to flip even more of the shots upside down. He chose the ripping of the tape to be the point where all the Jimmy shots flip from upside down to right side up to add some variety to this long scene.
We're sorry, man, all right? We're sorry.
Yeah, you are. Very much so.
You'll never have to see us again.
And you will spread the word that I'm off limits?
Yes. We'll tell everyone. We'll say that don't mess with the cell phone guy.
All right, we're done. We're done!
The special effects team rigged the piñatas to break on cue. Anyone who has tried to break a piñata knows how impossible this would be otherwise.
I appreciate the enthusiasm, but he got the message.
Listen to what he says, I got the message.
You know what? If it's that important to you, go ahead.
No, please no!
His last no overlaps his closed mouth. Both Huel and Man Mountain are back. It's funny to see them together since Jesse will eventually refer to Huel as
his big Man Mountain bodyguard.
This sort of cheesy reveal reminds me of the Huel reveal in Chicanery, and also the Mike reveal in Nailed.
You get one warning, and that was it.
This is one of those rare videos that I was able to finish in a week, so the shoutouts are shorter this time. Congratulations and thanks to Dylan Ring Productions, who just joined the
2-year members.
And here are the new
1-year members.
Levon Bradley, Max Olien, Andrew Gresham, Xantids, Duke Crumbletree, Fraser Pack, Beth, Zed, Luis Philippe Alberleri, Invermere, Lunar TRS, Two Bushes, Fruit, TCB, Tiki Ricky, Cursephone, Cobalt, Gabby, Danny Ogle, Patrick Gilliland, Necox2, Moon Baboon 10, Squeaky Wheels, Cambot, Aramemmer Demir, Zova, Camille, Taj Plays, Victor Casu, I'll send you to Belize, and Waving Fuzzball. And here are the new
6-month members.
Poopbuster, Dune Monkey 32, Rogan Geyer, The Brahman Dave, Jason Abadi, Joseph Smith, Marsh Joey Mallow, Jacob Sunderland, Yari 1998, Skylax, Patrick Kleinman, Airport X-Ray Simulator, Zaliant, Akardis, Techwen, Brad Wharton, Jack, Kevin Martin, AP, The Arborphiliac, Andy Tobia, That Hat, Tate Berkey, and Tiny Patch. And yes, in case you're wondering, I am trying to get my hands on that thrift store cut of Breaking Bad. Next time, which will definitely be 2 weeks from now, are you ready for something stupid?
Fuck me. Hi, Chuck. Big day, huh?
Thanks.
Kim, Wexler.
You're one of our law students.
Yes.
Sorry. Yeah.
Hi. Say hi.